Oh, shit. What's up? What up? What the hell? Nope. Shit. Where's it at? Good morning. Good morning. What the fuck? Oh, there it is. Good. Damn. Who said talk? You better fucking say good morning when you come in the room. Don't say talk. I'm not saying don't. You ain't gotta say good morning. I'm just, somebody sit there and just talk. Fuck. I'm a human too. I'd rather you not say shit than just come in here and say talk. Like a lab dog or some shit like that. Yeah, I got on your ass about that. Don't just say talk. Fuck. Well, thank you. You ain't had to say nothing, but I'm just, you get it. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Water under the bridge. Hold on. Do me a favor. Share it. Because I want to have that. Everybody been hitting me up with this video. And they're like, well, go on ahead and talk about it. So we're going to talk about it. And no, I'm not cutting your head off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can be like that. I apologize. See, I can apologize when I'm wrong. Or when my approach is too visceral, right? Good morning, Erica. What's going on? All right. So, from what I gather, and I addressed it on my YouTube video last night, Instructor Mike. So you can go on there and check it out. But from what I saw, a former Metropolitan DC lieutenant, who's former because he retired, not former because he was like a bad cop or something like that. He was former because he retired. Still training people. Outstanding. Love it. The context of the class was, it was a baton class. Now, regardless of the nomenclature, monadnock, asp, whatever, that doesn't matter. It was a baton class. There's no reason whatsoever to have any live weapons vis-a-vis firearms in a baton class. None. This is not a firearms class. That said, throughout the class went off without a hitch. Minus a few class skirmishes, which happens, and I can tell you that's a thing. But it was after class where there was an issue. Now, after class, I would imagine he's strapped up because he's getting ready to leave, right? Now, mind you, the library has a policy saying no firearms in the library. That's the same case here in Illinois. You cannot have a firearm if you are a concealed carry licensee. If you are a permit holder in DC, you cannot have a firearm. Because he is a retired police officer, he is no longer a police officer and not subject to the exemptions granted by active law enforcement officers. Therefore, he should not have had his firearm on or about his person at all. Let's full stop there. I don't care if he's a law enforcement officer under the Law Enforcement Officers Safety Act. The LEOSA, or HR 218, allows you to carry nationwide. It doesn't exempt you from every place nationwide. Does that make sense? Let's start there. Or I'm sorry, emphasize that point. Okay. Then, after or throughout the class, it was said that he had been pointing a dummy firearm at the person in question who was subsequently shot. By the way, she is or was a special police candidate. She was going through training to work at the Acosta, I believe, or the library. I'm not going to even try to botch the name because it's not coming to me. It begins with an A, right? Somebody put it in the comments so I can say it right? I want to say Acosta, Anadosta, one of the two, right? The library. So she was in training. It was baton training, right? Live firearm should not have been there. And throughout the class, there had been some back and forth playing in the class. And I can tell you as an instructor, this is something that does happen, right? Find a way to make the class lighthearted, so to speak. You still want to display safety, but you don't want the class to be dry. But you as an instructor have to have the mindset to understand when to flip the switch on and the Anacostia, thank you. When to flip the switch on and when to flip the switch off. You got to have that mindset. And apparently, at the time that he had put on his firearm, loaded it, which he should not have had in the library at all, that switch didn't go off. Why? Because they were after class, taking pictures. And it wasn't just them two, it was others too. After class, taking pictures. And then, during the class, he had done that, taking the gun out the holster, pointing it, and this is the fake gun now, taking the gun out the holster and pointing it at them to show them how fast it could happen. But then to put on his real gun and then do that same thing where he then shot her is gross recklessness. Gross recklessness. That said, she did lose her life. You all know this. I know this. I remember when the story first came out. So then the matter was investigated. And by the way, it was said that his firearm wasn't taken from him at first. He was not removed from the scene at first. He was not drug tested. He was not urine tested, whatever the case may be, to determine if he was under the influence or had any other type of altered mental statuses or substances that could have affected his ability to be able to be one of rational thought. Did he have his faculties about him? It was alleged, or it was said, that these things occurred later. He was later subsequently charged with second-degree murder. Grand jury indicted him, charged him with second-degree murder. As of maybe a week or two ago, and this happened, I believe, in 2002, August of 2002. As of a week ago, or two, one of the two, he was convicted of involuntary manslaughter by plea agreement. Plea agreement. And was sentenced to 36 months in prison. Sound off in the comments. What do you think about that sentence? Sound off in the comments. What do you think about that sentence? What do you think about the sentence of involuntary manslaughter, the plea agreement, the conviction, and then the subsequent sentence? Now, the prosecutors are stated to have asked the judge for 7 years. 7. Where he was then sentenced to 3. Well, 36 months. That's 3 years. 36 months, 3 years. 12, 20. You got me doing math. 12, 24, 36. Yeah, 3 years. Sign off in the comments. What do you think about it? My opinion, for whatever it's worth, due to the graphic nature of what you're about to hear, being a varied language use, and my opinion based on my education, experience, and the like, listener discretion is advised. You all said anybody, was it Pump and Pat, says anybody who shoots anybody should get life. Okay? The sentence angers me. He needs that while 10 or maybe 30. Okay? So let's go back to the anybody shoots anybody should get life. I get it. See, there's a balance that has to be stricken. And often the courts are charged with this duty. The courts by way of the judge and or the jury, whoever the triers of fact are. They have to strike a balance. And that balance, what's up, Quick Protective Services? That balance has to be circumstances in aggravation and circumstances in mitigation. Circumstances in aggravation are circumstances of a case where the person on trial, the defendant, deserves the strictest of punishment, the strictest of penalties. Those circumstances could be the circumstances in the event that took place. Those circumstances could be the person's background, their habits, their tendencies to commit crimes, the specific nature of the victim, be it a younger person, an older person, a person who may have any one of the disabilities that are given special consideration by the courts, the egregious nature in which a person committed the offense, the way they planned to carry out that particular offense. And then there are circumstances in mitigation. The defendant's background or the lack thereof. What spontaneousness in that given situation occurred where, yes, the action did take place, but it lacks the requisite intent needed to prove the actual case at trial. And so you got to ask yourself the question, if you're a person who is a student, if you will, of the criminal justice system, and not only a student, but a practitioner, what, if anything, would the prosecution have been able to do? And I'm glad that the numbers are kind of going down, because people don't have attention spans for lectures. Problem with the education system. People want that answer right now, and they don't want to go through the lecture. I used to love the way Barack Obama talked. He talked the same way he was thinking while he was speaking. Right. I'll get to your question in a minute, Dale. But the egregious, a person's background, you know, if they lack the prerequisite intent, if you will, to actually perform the reckless action with the level of planning and criminal intention, things like that, you know, what is the prosecution actually able to prove? There is the old adage, it's not what happened, it's what you can prove. And not even what you can prove, but what will the jury convict on? What will the jury convict on? Are we able to find a number of jurors in this given county? Body politic, right? You get it. In this county, right? Are we or county or district? Are we able to find prosecutors, jurors, who are able to actually hear the evidence and actually get us to a conviction? And so in looking at this case and in looking at outside of this incident, what would have been termed as a stellar career of a 33-year veteran District of Columbia police lieutenant who was an academy trainer. Granted, he should have known better. You don't get me excusing nothing there. He should have done better. You don't get me excusing nothing there. But are we, the prosecutors of the District of Columbia, I don't know if that's I know it's a district. I don't know how they prosecute, but let's go there. Because I don't know if it's the AUSA. I don't know. Right. But are we able to convince 12 people that he had malice aforethought? Because you got to understand second-degree murder. In second-degree murder, you have to meet the burden of proof for the elements of first-degree murder, except there are mitigating circumstances that take it down from first and put it at second degree. Second degree murder has the elements of first degree, except there's a special circumstance that makes it fall to the level of second degree murder. Is the prosecution able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this person, this defendant, shot her with malice aforethought or recklessness beyond that of involuntary manslaughter? Right? Given the evidence that they had before them, I don't think the state would have been able to meet that burden. And those of you all who knew me back during the Jason Van Dyke situation in Chicago, right, where this is not a police trainee situation, but this is a situation where it's involving a police officer with no background, where the state's attorney, they were trying to charge him with first degree. In fact, they did in fact charge him with first degree murder, second degree murder, and a few other charges. If you followed me, what did I say they were going to do? I told you they did not have enough to meet the burden for first degree murder, but they had enough to meet the burden for second degree murder. And then when Jason Van Dyke was sentenced to 81 months or something like that, and it was 6 years, people had a problem with that. And I'm like, cool, you're entitled to your opinions. It's all good. But there's no way that the judge is going to sentence a person with no background, given those circumstances, that fact pattern, to the maximum under the law. Because what some people don't understand is there's gonna be an appeal. And that's one thing that judges do not want to have happen, is or are their decisions being reversed on appeal because of excessive punishment. I get it. I don't expect you to understand, because at the balance, we are looking at the loss of a human life that had value. For crying out loud, she was going to be a special police officer. And in different jurisdictions, that means different things. But in DC, they're given quasi-police powers. Put this down so I have to use my sunglasses. They're given quasi-police powers, right? So I get it, Mike, a life for a life. Well, remember, Immanuel Kant's the categorical imperative. Act in a manner, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, using philosophy, act in a manner that would be willed as universal law. So do we say that every person who shoots someone should be given life? Remember, a percentage of you who follow me are concealed carriers. You carry firearms. So if in fact it's this maxim that every person who shoots someone, regardless of intent, should get life in prison, do you think that? Sound off in the comments. Sound off in the comments. Do you think that every person who shoots someone should get life in prison? Because if in fact it's the case that you think that every person who shoots someone should get life in prison, you should be an excellent conflict avoider. Why? Because you don't know the circumstances under which you may have to pull your firearm and use that firearm towards a person who is trying to cause you bodily harm. I'm giving you another hypothetical. Who is trying to cause you bodily harm. You are shooting in that person's direction. That person gets out of the way. But your bullet intended for that person hits someone you did not intend to hit. Let me guess. This triggers a conversation of, well, you should be responsible for every bullet that comes out of your gun, right? What's that fourth rule? Know your target and what lies beyond it. But if you've heard me lecture on this before, I'm telling you in the real life, that is not possible. All the physiological and psychological barriers that are going to descend upon your mind and body, and in the midst of all of them, you have to press that trigger to stop that threat, shooting a deadly threat whose body movements you do not control. You don't control their lateral movements. And so this person just happens to laterally move quickly and able to dodge getting hit. And you hit a child whom you did not see. Should you get life in prison? And oh, by the way, you have no background. You have strong mitigation for not getting the maximum. Should you get life in prison? Because what's good for the goose must be good for the gander. Act in a maxim that would be willed as universal law. Immanuel Kant, look it up. It's the categorical imperative. And so, bringing it back to this situation, what happened is a reckless tragedy. I don't even want to call it an accident. It's a reckless tragedy. And it should be on the minds of those instructors who are not doing this for the professional reasons that they should be doing it for. It should be on the minds of those instructors who are doing this while doing lashes, taxes, asses, pussy waxes, and classes. If this isn't your primary profession, you need to treat it like it's your primary profession. Because some of you are just a mind thought away from having the same thing happen. Remember the instructor in Chicago, I will not say his name. Remember the instructor in Chicago when in the midst of a concealed carry class, I believe he shot his daughter. I believe he shot his daughter. Some of you instructors who may be watching this, your ego is so big to the point where you will not go get training. And you accuse me of having a huge ego. Oh, how you are wrong. I am a wonderful student. Some of you instructors are just a mind thought away, a distraction away from having the same thing happen to you. And the freaking thing is, you know it. You think deep down inside about the time where it almost happened in your class, and but not for a particular thing, or you snapping back to it, you would have been in the same predicament. Oh, the stories that I hear from some of the students that have come through your place, because some of you, matter of fact, most of you do not teach security. I teach security. So you can teach them concealed carry, but if they want security, they may just come through me. And oh, the stories I hear. I don't go looking for them. I end up hearing them. The recklessness that goes on is just astonishing. And that's the thing. The standards have to be high. The standards got to be high. So before you judge this lieutenant, decorated, 33-year veteran, serving in a community where we get double marginality. If you're in the blue, you're not black enough. If you're out there policing, you're not black enough. You're a coon, Sambo, Uncle Tom. Remember, some of you are a mind thought away from having the same thing happen to you. You don't go get extra training. you don't put in extra procedures to make sure that before you introduce live firearms to the, strike that, real firearms to the class, that you check, and double check. That you check, and double check. Anybody who's ever been in my class knows that I will use a real firearm in that class, but they know that I check it. Mag out, round out. Mag out, round out. Turn it over. Look inside of this magazine well. Mag out, mag out. Inside the chamber, round out, round out. That's one person who checks. Then I'll go to another, right? Look in here. You see anything? Mag out. Say it. See anything in here? Mag out. Say it. Outstanding. Here we go. Show you the chamber. See anything in here? No. Round out. Say it. Round out. Say it. Good. Now, I've checked it twice. That person has checked it. That person has checked it. The firearm is clear. You have to look. We want to talk. Look, I'm telling you. There are some. Look. If I was to comb through these instructor curriculums, I guarantee you, I'm going to find where these organizations that write these curriculums, they may tell you you're responsible, but they don't doggone drill it in your freaking head in the teach backs. They don't freaking drill it in your doggone head to check, and freaking double check. Look, you freaking know what I'm talking about. Look at your doggone instructor curriculum right now and find me the body of instruction that teaches you. I'm not talking about tell you. Benjamin Franklin is quoted for this. Tell me, I won't remember. Teach me, I will remember. Involve me, I will learn. Does the curriculum and does your training counselor, or whatever the title is, the instructor trainer, make you throughout the class, drill it in you to the point of discipline, to check, and double check? See, we want to crucify this lieutenant, but we don't want to crucify the instructor curriculum and the writers for not writing that into the doggone curriculum under the influence of discipline. You want to get on the officers for not doing what they're supposed to do, but don't say doggone nothing about the writers of this doggone curriculum. You don't want to say shit, and then a person like me who comes out and says something, I'm the fucking enemy. A person like Rob Pincus, shouts out to him. He's a doggone enemy for sitting here and saying the doggone truth. We'll say something about competition shooting, about how unrealistic that is. It has a place, but it's not realistic for intuitive shooting, and he's a doggone enemy. Why is it anybody who challenges the status quo, who wants to raise the culture of firearms instruction into a higher level, why are we ostracized? And so I say for that lieutenants, you're missing the point. Yes, does he deserve punishment? Yes. The 3 years, you got no argument there. People want more. They're not going to give him more. He doesn't have the background to support more. He has the background exactly for what he has under the plea bargain, because the prosecutors probably know if they took this case to trial with the mitigation that he has a likelihood of winning his case. He has a likelihood of winning his case. And so he took responsibility. A plea bargain. He took responsibility. A plea bargain. When do you see police, and death is not on the table? It wasn't like he plea bargained to spare his life to get the death taken off the table. He wasn't going to get the death penalty for that. So he put himself on the line and said, look, I'm responsible. Let me plead an involuntary manslaughter. I'll take the 36 months. And he'll never be able to teach firearms again. And the District of Columbia is definitely going to have to pay out in a wrongful death lawsuit. But we got to have a bigger conversation than this lieutenant. Because some of you instructors are fucking trash too. And you're a hop, skip, and a jump and a sneeze away from shooting your students. And you fucking know it. So if we're not willing to have the bigger discussion, you could exit my doggone page. Because some of you are fucking trash. Not personally. Not personally. Not personally. You could be an awesome person. Don't misconstrue my words. I got a great vocabulary. Ish. Personally, you could be an awesome person. But as an instructor, you're fucking trash. You don't want to go get extra classes. You're curriculum regurgitating instead of doing what you need to be doing to get yourself the mentorship so you don't have this happen to you. Those of you writing curriculum, you don't write that shit in there. You're afraid to freaking discipline. Because you're worried about a fucking 5-star rating. Because you're worried about, well, they're going to cancel me. Let them goddamn cancel me. Cancel me for being safe. I'll take that shit. Some people don't understand why I'm the asshole the way that I am in class. Because the liability is on me. You only got one time to fuck up in this profession. And that was a big fuck up. You only got one time. And quiet as kept, tragedy brings about change. Some of y'all needed to see that shit. Some of y'all needed to see that instructor do that to remind you to be safe. Because some of you will sit here and tell you, and it goes in one doggone ear right out the fucking other. And some of you need that shit. I've been a fucking asshole, and I'm going to keep on being. I don't give a goddamn who likes it. Because the liability is on me. And you're going to do exactly what I doggone ask you, or you're going to get the fuck out of here. And I'm going to ensure that I'm going to treat you the way I would want to be treated, in a safe manner. And that's the way it has to be. And then you got some training counselors out here who's just making anybody a damn instructor. I said what I said. Motherfuckers in the firearms industry want to crucify this lieutenant. The fucking nerve of you. The fucking nerve of you. Don't you in the industry try to sit here and crucify this damn lieutenant. Yes, what he did was reckless. Yes, he is going to get punished. He's being punished now. But all these people you done set free out here to bullshit teach, don't you fucking come to me about this lieutenant. Don't you? Don't. Don't. I said what I said. And then here's this. Don't act like there's no danger involved in this profession, period. See, that we gonna look at it from another angle too. We gonna look at it from another angle too. While it is not the case that you should not expect to get shot or for training accidents or incidents or negligence or recklessness to occur, what the fuck kind of profession you think we in? What kind of profession you think we in? See, some of y'all want to own guns and you don't want to get shot. I'm not saying you should want to get shot. You're missing my point. Some of y'all own guns and think because you own guns, now there's a fucking imaginary force field around your body and you ain't gonna get shot. Some of you think you can pull that shit out and think it don't have consequences that come with it. I said what I said. Anytime there's a gun in a situation, there's always a possibility that somebody could get hurt. We can look at right, wrong, just, unjust, tactical, not tactical, all that shit. Remember how I told you, if you've been in my class, how I told you, you got to be comfortable with death. And I'm not saying anything about this student. This student did nothing wrong, in my opinion. She did everything she was supposed to do in that circumstance. I don't know about the class, but in that circumstance, she did everything she was supposed to do. There was nothing that she could do. She didn't know it was supposed to happen. She didn't know it did happen. Strike that. Let me say that again. She didn't know that it would happen. And she didn't expect for it to happen. But anytime you are inside of a situation with a person who has a gun, there's always a possibility you could get shot. Always a possibility. I had one person in my firearms class who came to class with a ballistic vest. I didn't make him take it off. He kept it on. I was cool with it. I understood why he wore it. And he had it underneath his clothes. I'm just saying, y'all. Yes, this instructor was reckless, but I'm not going to wish him life in prison. I'm not going to wish him life in prison. Tactical, I got you. I'm not going to wish him life in prison. I will not do that. His background does not support it. His background supports exactly what he got. And some of you shea butters, I said what I said. Some of you shea butters don't have the audacity. See, let me tell you something. The reason why we got a percentage of low-performing, undereducated police officers is that you smart people would rather go do something else than protect your community. I said what I said. It's easy for you to judge a person whose shoes you would never get in. It's easy for you to judge a person whose Chicago police is hiring right now, and quiet as kept. They taking anybody. Why don't you go take your ass to the academy and strap the fuck up and show us how to do it better? Please show me how to do it better. I'm not saying you can't. Show me. Oh, show me. I had a saying a long time ago. If Black Lives Matter, show me the matter. If Black Lives Matter, show me the matter. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Show me. Show me. And then when you get on the department, go get some certifications so you can teach the next generation of smarter cops. Come on now. Show me. Because a lot of y'all doing a bunch of talking but ain't doing no protecting. You talking about from the family point of view, they're not worried about his background. I don't want to argue nothing from the family point of view because I understand the family's point of view. They lost a loved one. They have every right to demand that he gets life. They have every right to demand all the money in the coffers and in the bank accounts of the District of Columbia. They have all the rights and privileges. I don't want to say privileges, but they have all the rights to grieve. They even have all the rights to be angry at me and everyone else who has a difference of opinion regarding the sentence, not the recklessness, because I agree with them on that. Not the fact that it should not happen. I agree with them on that. But I don't want to argue anything from the family's point of view, because to do that would be to discount the righteous feelings that they have over the loss of their loved one. That is insensitive and cruel, and I will not stoop to that level. But there's a more professional conversation that I'm having here, and a conversation regarding the legality of the sentence and the likelihood for conviction, because would you have rather the state's attorney took the plea off the table? And would you have liked it for him to go to trial and for his attorney to find one sympathetic juror to find him not guilty, and then he walks entirely? See, you don't think about those circumstances. Oh, we know he wouldn't have walked. You don't know nothing. You think you know. You don't know. He could have easily been, I don't want to say easily, wrong choice of words. He could have been found not guilty. He could have been found not guilty. Stranger things have happened in the judicial system before. He could have been found not guilty. He could have been found not guilty. So you can argue it from the family's point of view. Bless you. But I don't want to argue it from the family's point of view because the family may not see it the way I see it. And I don't want them to see it the way I see it because they have a right to grieve. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. They have a right to grieve. They have that right to grieve. They have that right to demand justice. But don't make this police shooting, because see, I've watched and I've listened to some of the narratives that's being pushed out there. They want to box this situation into the Mike Brown, into the Eric Gardner, into all the other police shootings, and you hear the narratives. You hear the narratives. Now, and see, that's the problem, Tactico. That right there is the problem. Oh, we hold these guys to a high standard. This incident is unacceptable. Do you even know what the standard is? Do you even know how we are certified and trained? Do you even know, like I just mentioned to you before, that the check, recheck, recheck, that stuff is not written in every firearms instruction curriculum. It's probably one thing or maybe a couple of things that's anecdotal. In other words, it's not constantly reinforced. It's not constantly reinforced. You're holding the police to a standard that's not there. You're holding them to a standard of instruction that is mythical. Look at all these horrible instructors who are out here just pushing out people with certifications. And this is not everybody, but you know. Sound off in the comments if you know some trash instructors. Good people, but trash instructors. Sound off in the comments if you know some trash instructors. And then tell me about standards. Tell me about standards when we got substandard ass trash, good intention out here who's just certifying just anybody. And you want to tell me about holding someone to a high standard. When I tell you that this academy training or some of this training is litigation mitigation, I know what I'm talking about. Just enough to be able to say, we showed you something and you should know. And some of these instructor candidates have no idea the trap that they are being set up for if they don't go get extra training, if they don't go get extra mentorship. They don't understand. And quite frankly, their tempo of teaching people isn't high enough, like or better than me, to the point where they could get sued, because the more students you teach, the higher the likelihood it is for somebody to be in a situation where you could be called to testify as to the level of training that you have and the level of training that you were given to teach. And how your attorney would then try to comb through what you were taught to teach to find discrepancies or areas where they could say you weren't trained to teach for this specific circumstance, yet you're being held to a higher standard that does not exist. See, some of you don't know what's beyond the curriculum because you hadn't been through it. And quite frankly, you don't give a fuck about it because all you know is, I got to go to get the money. Well, let's go get the money. You don't teach that many people. You don't teach in that space. So you don't know. You don't even know half the reason of why I am the way that I am. So judge your mama. Thoughts and prayers to her because she did not deserve that. But if we ain't gonna have a conversation about increasing the level of instructor candidates, not just fucking certifying just any old body. Instructor, train the trainer training while you're an instructor. If we ain't gonna talk about that, then don't fucking talk to me about a higher standard because you don't know the half. Shouts out to the state of New Jersey. I got you. I'm gonna read it in a minute. I'm glancing while y'all know what I'm doing. Shouts out to the state of New Jersey. Shouts out to the state of New Jersey for saying, okay, I'm going to give you New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. I'm going to give you your concealed carry license. But we going to make you earn it. We going to make you earn it, baby. And do you know what they did? They saw the rest of those BS standards like in Illinois and in Maryland and all these places where you got to shoot at a piece of paper. And they said, well, since you want your guns, we gonna give you your guns. But your qualification test is the FBI qualification. Ow, baby. Ow. Lil' Jimmy got hard in this bitch. You know what I'm talking about. Ow. Look, this shooting 10 rounds at 5, 10 rounds at 7, 10 rounds at 10, that ain't shit. You are not ready. You got to shoot at 25 yards, and then you got to, on the sound of the whistle, you got to run up to 15 and shoot from behind cover from a holster position, and then you got to shoot, you got to run up to 10, and then you got to go to 7, then you got to go to 5, then you got to go to 3 yards, and then you got to go to 1 strong side, and then support side shooting. God damn, some of y'all would never get your license. I remember when I was a police officer and I had been a trainer. I'm gonna tell y'all this story. I was a police officer and I had just became a trainer in the department. And I was going through firearms instruction school for the state, not civilian shit, for law enforcement. And I was being mentored. I had already been mentored before, but I was being mentored specifically for this by a neighboring police firearms instructor. I remember I was still in the midst of firearms instructor school, but I was still the training sergeant. So I had to get my officers and the department. It was time for annual qualification. So we went to the neighboring range, and the instructor was like, all right, so I'm gonna put everybody through through the FBI course. And he was like, since you're gonna be a firearms instructor for your department, I'm putting your ass through it first. Strap up. I was like, boy, say less, bitch. Let's go. We had that kind of relationship. We can talk like that. And he was way older than me, Vietnam vet. He's like, I'm putting your ass through it first. I was like, bet it up, bitch. Let's go. He put me through that shit, passed it. Just like that. I've been shooting, so I know, I ain't no fucking SWAT guy. I ain't put no goddamn pedestal now, but I've been shooting. I know what I'm doing. So, passed it. JJ went through it. He passed it. Warfield went through it. He passed it. Who else? Kenny Ray went through it. He passed it. It was about 7 or 8 people who went through it and passed it. Oh, let me tell you something. And if I'm lying, I'm dying, I'm flying. Don't fucking make me prove it. I still got the emails to this day. We put the department through that training. Boy, 3/4 of the department failed, including the fucking chief. Chief got mad. Mike, I don't even know why you would even put us through this kind of training. I'm like, what the fuck? First of all, it wasn't even my course to set you through. You the one told me to go on ahead and set it up, right? But let's have that conversation. What the fuck you mean you mad about this shit? Why is it the rest of y'all not doing what you're supposed to do to make sure that you're ready for a test like this? Well, I understand, Mike, but the standards mean we got to have an 8.5 by 11 or 8.5 by 14, whatever the fuck it was. And then you got to shoot at this and then at this and then at this. And that's what we did. Most of them failed. That didn't stand. So we had to have this dry ass qualification. Oh, me and Chief got into it. Oh, look, I am healthily insubordinate. I am healthily insubordinate. I got no problem being insubordinate for some bullshit. And that was bullshit. So when you talk about a motherfucking standard, you trying to hold the police to, what the fuck do you know about the standard? Because you got police trainers like or better than me who will tell your ass different. And I'm going to end with this. Jeff Chudwin, chief of police, former chief of police, master firearms instructor, an attorney, said it best. The military trains and trains and trains for wars they may never fight. Police fight wars every day and rarely train. That quote will never leave my head because it is the fucking truth. Whatever standard you think they held by, that's your ass with them unreasonable expectations. Even the Attorney General of New Mexico, in response to the governor's bullshit decree trying to cancel concealed carry for a county, sat there and said this. We can talk about better police training. We can talk about even he made that admission. Police training can be better. But you got to deal with these stubborn ass cops, not all of them, but a percentage of them who don't like training and fucking lazy. We recruited them out of trauma because nobody else would take the job. And then you want to push them into training? Oh, but then there's the union contract. Talk about a fucking standard. You don't know the half. The culture needs to change. She fell victim because of the culture. The culture. It's the culture of training. And I've been screaming it. I'm going to keep on shouting it till my fucking lungs fall out. It's the culture. We hold you guys to a higher standard. If you only fucking knew. If you only knew. Let me get my ass in my office. Sound off in the comments. What you think about this? I can't, Iggy, right now. Nah, I can't. I'm getting ready to go inside, Iggy. I'm going to come back live. I got you. All right, y'all. Very informative. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to take this video, post it on my YouTube. All right. I got a parenting class going on tonight. If you want to be a part of that, join my YouTube. Thank you. Join my YouTube, Instructor Mike. Become a member. There's going to be a member-only stream. We're going to have fun learning about some behavior. Man, look. Hey. Oh, Eddie, you didn't miss it. I'm going to keep it on my Instagram. If you want to watch it again, I'm going to keep it on the Instagram. And then I'm going to post it on my YouTube. It's going to premiere on my YouTube. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss it. Like I said, horrible instructors, where I got my Act 235. Amazing people. Horrible instructors. That's a thing. You see what I'm saying? That's a thing. Trust and arms protection. Who they are personally and them teaching, they won't even go. And then here's this. We got people who have learned more knowledge, but they won't even put on instructor development courses. I challenge you. If you are an instructor and you know some shit, put on an instructor development course. And don't you fucking charge an arm and a leg either. Because some of y'all will charge an arm and a leg and you will price yourself out of giving away that good ass knowledge. If iron sharp, you ain't got to give away your specifics about, you know what I'm saying, about teaching and shit like that. In terms of what makes your business, those proprietary things, keep that to yourself. I get it. But there are some instructor development courses that you could put on. There's some stuff that you could put on. And this iron ain't sharpening iron enough. This iron ain't sharpening iron enough. Some of y'all get, and the thing is, quiet as kept, I can't even be mad the whole time at the people who write the curriculums for these instructor courses. All the way. Because it's up to you to go get some more training. But then that training becomes hard to get. Y'all ever heard about this ALIVE, ALIVE, active shooter training? I got the email from them. I was gonna try to go to get certified, whatever. It's about some $1,900. I'm not paying $1,900 for a Zoom class for you to teach me what I already know. No, thank you. I don't give a fuck if you're certified by Jesus Christ himself. I'm not paying that much. I'm not. The ILEADA conference don't even cost that much. And the ILEADA conference is a week long, and it's plenty of value there. Don't even cost that much. Even if you didn't take any of the other extra courses where you had to pay and it was small. No, fuck that. No. You want to charge? No, because active shootings are possible. No. The alert class don't even cost that much. Alice don't even cost that much. No. So if you're going to put on an instructor development